Good morning, Busy Bees. It's Sunday, October 5th, and here is your morning news rundown in under 5 minutes. A federal judge in Oregon has blocked the Trump administration's plan to deploy National Guard troops to Portland, ruling that the move likely violates the state's constitutional authority. Judge Karen J. Immergut said the government failed to show sufficient cause for a federal takeover of state troops, writing that public safety is not enhanced by federalizing forces over state objections. Now, remind you, she is a Trump appointee. In her decision, Immergut warned that unilateral federal deployment of troops edges the country dangerously close to martial law conditions, stressing that state consent is a core constitutional check to executive power. The White House says it will appeal the decision, and Oregon's governor praised the ruling as a win for state sovereignty. Local judges and federal judges seem to be holding the line where our Supreme Court is not. Our Supreme Court seems to be biased towards Donald Trump for whatever reason. I don't know if it involves the Epstein list. I have my own thinking about that. But anyway, local judges seem to be holding the line and keeping our government in check. Stay tuned for this appeal. I want to talk about Kyren Lacy, the new evidence in the LSU Stars case. Former LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy, 23, died in April of 2025 after what was initially called a car crash and apparent suicide. Lacy has been wrongfully blamed for a car accident the night before, a car accident before his death. Police cited him as a fault driver, which led to misdemeanor charges that suspended his football career and NFL draft prospects. This drove Lacy to, I guess, depression, and his father made a statement saying that, mental health awareness is an issue. But what drove Lacy to that? Well, it was fabricated evidence by the police there. And his family and attorneys are calling for a full investigation into that, because the new video evidence showed that this gentleman, Lacy, had no fault in terms of this accident. He wasn't anywhere near this accident at the time. He was 70 to 100 yards away, so he could not be the cause. This goes to show you what's happening in our country in terms of what police do. If it were not for video evidence these days, how many young African American men and women are we losing to this so-called justice system? In another case, Trey Reed, early findings of the second autopsy results showed that he did not hang himself, that there's evidence of blunt force trauma and maybe hanging after the fact, which was stated by his family and many, many people. So again, in Mississippi, in reference to Trey Reed, this is just another crime. Another crime that needs to be investigated amongst all the crimes that are taking place in this country by elected officials, by white nationalists, by this type of environment that seems to be growing in the United States. In other news, let's go to global activism. Environmental activists Greta Thunberg and several others involved with the Sumud Flotilla convoy of humanitarian boats attempting to reach Gaza were detained by Israeli authorities. Early report says that they're being treated cruelly. Dirty water, no food, no access to medication, no access to attorneys. So we will see what comes of it. These people are still, and most of them are still being held and have not been extradited to their respective countries. President Trump says Hamas faces total obliteration if it refuses to be the U.S. brokered ceasefire plan. The proposal created by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu demands Hamas full disarmament, release of hostages, and withdrawal from Gaza. Critics argue the plan lacks humanitarian protection and fails to address the West Bank. This is a wait and see, I guess. I'm Simply Sugar. That's your Sunday news rundown. Please like, share, and follow. Stay smart, stay safe, stay informed.